Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Renee Mehrra, and today I'm in conversation with Simi Arora. She's got a great inspiration story to tell us. Simi Arora is a life coach, certified life coach, and a pranayama teacher. And it's a pleasure to talk to you, Simi, because I had a nice conversation with you a couple of days ago, and there's so much to talk to you about, and so much our viewers can learn from your experience, from your personal experiences as well. And what you're doing right now, Simi Arora, viewers, is doing life coach skills. She is teaching in many institutions and corporations, private one-on-one sessions as well, education institutions, and all that we can optimize our performance, we can evolve and find our inner core, and so that we can be able to really succeed in life the way we want to. We have a picture of our success and how to get there. That's what Simi Arora does. So it's a great pleasure to talk to you today, Simi. Tell us, before I go into your personal experiences, how the transformation came and what made you evolve, tell us about your classes. I know that you are teaching for individual empowerment. Then you also have a resilience program, Raise Your Resilience. At the same time, conscious creator. I think that's the interesting part of it. So tell us about these three programs. Well, let me concentrate first on the conscious creator. The living in a conscious way, so we're mindful of what we want to do and where we want to go.
First of all, thank you, Renee, for having me on your show and having this conversation with me. You yourself is such a brilliant woman, and you've done phenomenally amazing work for a lot of women out there. So I must congratulate you for that, first of all. And secondly, I'm really, really excited to share not only my story, but of course, some of the very important principles and insights that we can use in our daily life to, navigate challenges and create our desired destiny by being conscious. So as you said, that I work with individuals and organizations, institutions, and through my online programs, which is one of the best ways to reach many, many people beyond what I do with my workshops and, one-on-one coaching. So conscious creation is our ability to be mindful of what we want to create and also take the necessary steps towards building the life that we can be proud of, a life that is in sync with my inner self, a life that allows me to express my fullest potential. And when we don't do that, we tend to experience a lot of stress. Most of the people, when we come across, generally feel stressed because of no reason. Because if we actually notice, there are many, many people, many unfortunate people in third world countries where people have not much of the accessibility of even the simplest things of life. And we sitting in the
thing is that not just that, which you mentioned, because they don't even have the basic amenities. So
absolutely,
maybe going to dream of what we want to be. And many times, even if we're living here, of course, we're going through this pandemic, but there's this pandemic of mental illness as well. We don't know what we want to be. We are so stuck in our own insecurities and our fears and anxieties. We don't even know where we want to be. So we're not even mindful of like, okay, this is my picture of success. In a couple of years, I want to be there. They don't have that thinking because it is so much of mental issues of anxiety and fear and panic attacks, and we could talk about that much later on as well with you on this. But so the transformation can never come, Simi, because we don't know where we want to go. So exactly. Do you then first, with your clients and individuals, tell them where you want to be? What's your dream?
Yeah. So basically, this is exactly what I'm saying. So most of the people are on autopilot. They're living their subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is the place of assimilation of information right from the very childhood. And then, a lot of other experiences of life that we continue to evolve and grow with. Now, some of the experiences of our life are unfortunately difficult, and they bring up a lot of intense emotions. And those intense emotions are stored in our subconscious awareness. And what happens is when we are not aware of them, they hold us back. They kind of become this block in our subconscious being, which we're not aware of. And that's why when people say that I have this subconscious stress, or I'm not enjoying life, or I don't know where I'm going, I feel lost, I feel that I'm fighting with life, what they're really saying is that I'm not sure what is there in my subconscious mind, which is blocking me right now, because I'm either living in the past or in the future. I'm never in the present moment awareness. So being conscious creator or living a conscious life is all about coming into the present moment awareness and removing the blockages of the subconscious mind, especially the old codes of conditioning, and then replacing them with what we really want to create and manifest. So it involves a whole structure that I teach my clients, starting from the detachment and deconditioning and designing of your life and your mindset, because what we experience outside is basically our mind.
So the detachment is okay. The deconditioning is not easy because we're so conditioned in the way we have been thinking, as you mentioned, from our childhood, all those attitudes and our beliefs have been sunk in. Now to move away from that paradigm and come to a different space requires, it's a big journey within. And sometimes the shift comes very incrementally. It may not happen 1, 2, 3 very quickly. Slowly we understand, you know, why we should not live in the past, or we should not, that's what the mind does. It's a monkey mind. So it's always thoughts, thoughts, thoughts. It's either the thoughts for the past or the thoughts that we are looking for the future, but never in the now. And
Yeah.
even our scriptures talk about live in the now, live in the present, but we never really focus on that. So I guess the life coaching skills bring us back to that reality.
Yeah. I believe a detachment, when I use the word detachment, it itself is a really big step. Now, what really is detachment? A detachment is the fundamental self-realization, which is knowing yourself beyond the body and the mind construct. Because body is deteriorating every day. We are not the same person physically 5 years ago, 2 years ago, even like 2 minutes ago, because there are multiple thousands of cells dying every minute and are recreated every minute. So our body is shifting and changing. Our mind is always changing and evolving, and there is an absorption of information on the continuous basis. So what is something that I am beyond this? Because if I am the body and the mind, that I'm subject to the deterioration, I'm subject to the shifts and change, and obviously there is a resistance to change. So why we develop stress is because we don't want to change. We want to feel the same way. So when we start to recognize our true essence as pure consciousness, as this witness consciousness of the body and the mind, and not the body and the mind itself, that's what creates a detachment from all the pains and the sufferings and the attachments with the people. And then when we start to become the witness, we start to understand that all this drama of the life which is happening around me is not, against me. It is in favor of me, because it's helping me evolve and grow and, take me to the place where there are more learning lessons to be learned, so that I can ultimately get into the path of my total self-expression. Because what we really are trying to do in this universe while we are playing our roles is we're trying to expand ourselves. When people say, I want to get into a romantic relationship, it means I want to expand myself. When they reproduce children, that means that I want to expand myself. When I want to travel the world, that means I want to expand myself. But our expansion is always limited to the worldly conditions. So when I recognize myself beyond the body and the mind, which is, of course, a spiritual elevation, but also psychological, does impact us psychologically, big way, because our goal setting, our ability to look at life, the perceptions and the beliefs starts to change. And when there's an inner change, then outer world starts to change as well.
And I think that's where meditation plays a very, very critical role in all our lives, because once we have nourished and nurtured our spirit, our body and mind will follow and become healthy. So what is meditation? Going within and having that quiet space where nobody is, and getting to be focused and centered and grounded. So I'm a big believer in meditation and how it can bring inner calm, inner peace and bring a tangible difference in society. Because once we are calm, once we are peaceful, we'll be able to create that change, and that's consciously creating that change. Um, Ontological tools for life coaching, those are very important. Share with us what those tools are, how we can go from here to optimizing the performance and evolving.
Absolutely. So the first thing in coaching, and when we basically, when we get to speak with a client, let's say one-on-one, what we're really trying to do is open up their heart and mind to say things that they want to say. So expressing what's going on. And when you are working with a coach, obviously they ask you the powerful questions and you answer. But how you can, at your own place, within your own, lifestyle situations, how you can become more self-aware, and not only become self-aware, but self-accepting. Because usually what we do is we distract ourselves. Let's say if I'm having an experience of pain, I'm feeling this gut feeling or intuition about something which is making me feel jittery, restless, and this anxiety is creeping in. So what I do is sometimes I will like, okay, I'm going to have a drink, or I'll just watch some television, or I'll just speak to some friend. So what we do is we distract ourselves rather than really getting face to face with that emotion. So the first thing we need to do is to become more self-aware. Find out where this emotion is coming from, what type of thoughts I am thinking. And then again, check in on your thoughts and see what type of beliefs are making me think about these thoughts, because every thought is linked to a certain belief. So all these thoughts are leading to the emotions, and those emotions are making your brain secrete those chemicals in the body. So if your emotions are stressful, your body is going to get a lot more cortisol than you would want. And if your emotions are elevated, such as compassion, kindness, love, expansion, then your body is going to get a lot more dose of endorphins and serotonin, which are happy chemicals. So your body is merely an extension of your mind. So when we become self-aware and we understand that, yes, there is this challenge that I'm facing, and I'm going to have to figure out a way to eradicate it and not to get distracted with other small, menial things, because your subconscious has it. It is going to capture it until you resolve it. And when we don't resolve things, then we accumulate anxiety, and eventually we get into mental health issues, which I, by the way, have a history of, and I openly speak about. So if there's something that you don't feel aligned with, address it. That's the very first thing you need to be doing.
Absolutely. Meet it head on so that you're able to figure it, not move away from it. The escape mechanism doesn't work all the time. The mind will come back to it. And we have so many thoughts, and what we think is what we become. What we eat is what we become. So there's so many things that are going on in ourselves that we have to look into to get to our inner core and be connected to that. And that's when we're able to find that inner calm. Now, I wanted to, amazing transformation, Simi, from your side. A few years ago, you were having panic attacks and stress, anxiety, and most of us, many times, during extenuating circumstances, go through these kind of emotions that are very toxic. But through that, you were able to evolve and understand who you really are, and look where you are at this time, transforming others. But tell us what happened to you and how that transformation began with you, and you became a life coach and a pranayama teacher.
Well, I think everybody has a story, and every story has an underlying lesson. I came to this country in 2012 on the basis of a marriage, which didn't work out, unfortunately. But things can happen outside of us, which are not.
And you come from India at that time.
India, yes.
Just knew over here.
Yes, and I believe that when I look at this challenge now, after coming a long way, and of course being able to transform my life, I believe that all the challenges that are outside of us and sometimes are out of our control, they can put us into a very difficult, dark spot, and especially can bring in a lot of emotional turmoil. And at that time, when we are into it, we are not able to clearly understand why that is happening. And most of us start to believe that life is so unfair. This is why this happened to me. You know, I shouldn't be getting this kind of treatment. And, you know, there's a big level of hindrance around accepting what has happened. And of course, that comes along with the pressure of coming from a certain culture and a certain family background. So obviously I had all those experiences of divorce and being in an unknown country and overthinking in the subconscious mind, because at the face of it, I was very strong and I started to work and I was hitting the gym. I was in my best shape in my body. Physically, at the surface level, everything was okay. But internally, nothing was okay. And one fine day, I woke up with a jolt. Like I had the sweaty palms and my heart was racing, and I had this amazing fear, like absolute fear of death. And I fainted for a while, then called 911. And when it started to happen regularly, I went to the doctor. He told me that you have something that we call panic disorder. I was like, what is that? Because most of the first, you know, coming from India and probably other countries, they have no awareness, not much
Don't
awareness.
talk about it, yeah.
And many people here as well, I mean, especially the South Asian communities, people still don't understand, they don't recognize the symptoms of anxiety, and they find out, you know, simpler way to deal with it, or not effective ways, I would say, to deal with it. So I highly recommend, if anybody of you who's watching here have ever experienced a panic attack or restlessness, you must take medical guidance. It's very important to initially get the stability of the mind. So your body, which is experiencing a physical change of the chemicals, can come back to normal. Because once you are normal with that, in that capacity, then you're able to take some holistic measures around finding out the root cause of that anxiety. But do not straight away say that, oh, I'm going to fix it with holistic means if you're experiencing consistent anxiety and panic, which is interfering with your work or interfering with your confidence. Because I remember when I used to have back-to-back anxiety attacks, I became suicidal because I lost confidence in myself. I felt trapped. I felt that I cannot live a normal life now. And medication really, really helped me out. So I always openly say that medication is a big support, but it's not the solution. So the next part of this question, when you asked me that what exactly happened, was that I started to understand if there is this challenge that has made me fall into this trap of mental illnesses. So I have to find out why is that happening and how do I fix it? Otherwise I have to kill myself. So it was like either or situation, do or die situation. And when we are going through something as terrible as a mental illness, then the solutions are usually inside. You have to ask yourself, what am I thinking? What type of beliefs are causing this fear? If I am fearful, what is this fear telling me? So I started to go to the teachers, hired coaches, went to spiritual organizations, many organizations, to just find peace and balance, and started meditations. And from the meditation, obviously my spiritual journey started, and it started to just go deeper and deeper and deeper. And I believe the transformation is very subtle. When you start to work on yourself, it is bound to happen. But it cannot be like, oh, I'm into this for 6 months, it's not happening, because it's a process and you continue to grow with this.
Wow. So, and then you decided to become a life coach.
Yes.
And heal, first you had to heal yourself to heal others. So first you were able to heal yourself and find, you know, yourself, your real self. And then you said, and that's a great story, because then you decided to help others who might be in the same position that you have been and you went through. So you're able to relate. And I think that's a very important factor, because you're more sensitized to people's concerns, because you've already gone through it. It's not just you read about it or, you know, you went through the coaching, but you've actually gone through those experiences, maybe different from whatever, but those experiences are real. And, you know, from the trauma, you're able to heal. So you're able to help others, especially South Asian women, minority women, women who don't talk about it. You know, even women here in the United States, you know, don't like to talk about it, because it's kind of there's a stigma attached to mental illness, and especially with South Asian women. So destigmatizing it, saying that it's okay, you know, it's okay to feel like this, but let's move on from here and find your real true self, and that's what you've been doing. So you have, I mean, it's a great transformation for yourself and not transforming others. So it's a great inspirational story, and I'm sure our viewers would be able to relate to it because there's so many women out there who don't talk about it, but they suffer in silence. And here you are. It's,
Lot to
yeah,
do with our cultural belief systems as well, because I
right.
believe, especially with the South Asian women and especially Indian women, I believe most of us overthink about a lot of things, especially involving men in our lives. Could be husbands, could be fathers, could be sons, and less women to women complication. It's always more about women to men complications, and it's because the way we grow up is we grow up with more liabilities on our shoulders, and we will tend to deviate from that. Then we start to feel that we are losers.
Yes.
We didn't
Feel guilty
justify
about it.
our presence. We didn't do the right thing for our family, and we put ourselves absolutely behind every other possible person in the family. And I think this is what also was my learning lesson, to be able to express myself openly in front of my family, in front of other people, because I come from a very conservative background as well. And I think the number one thing I want to say to this women of South Asian community, especially Indians, is that, you know, we have to treat people, we have to teach people how to treat us. You have to teach people how to treat women in the household. And not only in terms of the behavior patterns, but also in terms of the respect, in terms of what we can accomplish and not accomplish. I think this is where the huge transformation in my life also happened, that I stepped up and I started to talk about it, which led me onto the journey of becoming a life coach. So
Especially for women coming from patriarchal societies, we go through all this. That's where the deconditioning comes in. That, you know, and we start feeling guilty if we stand up and fight our own. So it's important, you know. But then again, it takes a whole lot of time because there's this norms, you know, they've been there forever, our cultural way of looking at things, attitudes, beliefs, and these norms have been there for so long that they've just been there. So it's in our DNA many times, and we have to get over it and then find ourselves in it. So I'm glad you're doing this. Now you have these amazing workshops, and what if a woman in need but has these issues and can't afford? Do you take care of them as well?
yes, of course. I mean, I would love to conduct a workshop for the women, especially women in need, and would love to support. I've been doing it for people off and on, but you know, I'm really looking forward to do a proper workshop so we can, you know, pick up certain aspects of the major pain points that women are struggling with, and provide a support, a hope, and also some of the tangible steps and applicable tools that they can apply in their life. Because majorly my work is about shifting the mindset. And I believe that no matter where we are, if we decide that I'm going to change my life, if we decide that enough of everything, I am going to take a decision and stand up for myself, that's the moment our life starts to change. Because once we decide in our head that this is the way I'm going, then we might face more challenges around that, but that commitment towards yourself and prioritization is extremely important. And that's what I will definitely want to extend to the women in need.
So do you design your workshops? Are they customized, or are they on group? Some of them are group sessions, some are individual. So in the group session, how long is the group session? Is it 45 minutes or to an hour?
Yeah, so it varies because I work with many different stratas of people, from organizations to you know, C-level executives, and also with some of the educational institutions. So everybody's requirement is different. So workshops vary from 45 minutes to 90 minutes range. And individual coaching is an entirely different story. If someone doesn't, I mean, they want deeper level of work and they want to work with a mentor, especially it is very, very helpful when they find it so difficult to create this discipline and structure in their life, and they want someone to be holding their hand and hold them accountable. That's the coaching setting, and it's very, very in-depth work. And I really enjoy that because I see lives changing one at a time and at a very deeper level. But workshops, we can always, you know, do it from a 45-minute time to 90 minutes time period based on what type of topic that we are covering.
Right. And they're all based in Long Island, these workshops?
Well, right now, all the workshops are online because
Yeah, of
we
course,
have,
they're online, but
yeah, I mean, it could be anywhere in the world. We can do the workshops anywhere through Zoom because unfortunately we're stuck in our houses and we still do not have the platform to really go in there and meet people, right? But I'm hopeful next year is going to be a much better year for all of us to get together and do the workshops.
so if they can go through our website, simiarora.com. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, simiarora.com. Also on Instagram, Simi Arora, just type in, you'll find me. And on Facebook, on YouTube. I put in a lot of new content on YouTube, and I'm building up my YouTube now. This year I've started to build it up. And I put a video every week, which is more or less, you know, talking about a mental health issues and mental health
Well,
awareness.
that's important. Mental health is a pandemic right now. And besides that, there's a stigma attached to it. So we have to come out and talk about it openly, especially for our South Asian community, because we feel ashamed. We don't want to talk about it, but it's better to talk, to heal, and to move on. And so that's very important. So how do you redesign your workshops again and again? Is it through the narratives of many women that you design something, so you find, okay, this is something important, I'm going to add this component to my workshop?
Absolutely. Well, everything in the life, like everything is basically, you know, overlapping each other. You know, when we talk about a mental health, we have to get into the beliefs, we have to get into the thoughts, because those are the, you know, originating factors of what we're experiencing in our lives. So everything is connected to mind. We can name it, you know, building resilience. We can name it removing stress and anxiety. We can name that topic anything. But primarily, what we're really talking about is the deeper self realization, the understanding that I am attached to this belief. That's why I'm experiencing this pain, and I have to let go. How do I let go? How do I let go of this pain and suffering? Because
yes, I think that's the best take-home message. You know, how to, you know, let go this. That's when you detach, decondition, and design your future.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, Simi Arora, life coach and a pranayama teacher. Transform yourself and now transforming others. Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Renee Mehrra. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, Renee. It was such a pleasure to talk to you today, and thank you for wonderful questions and helping the community.
Thank you. Thank you.